Welcome back to the KIX 96.5 Morning Show. We love featuring artists you should know about, and today we're heading to Maryland to chat with award-winning singer-songwriter Mike Kuster. Mike hails from Frederick, Maryland. He won the Independent Music Network's Male Country Artist of 2023. His debut album came out in 2021, but he most recently released an EP called Mountain Monsters of Maryland, and he's got a brand new single called Back to Feagaville. We're stoked to have Mike on the show. First, Mike, thanks so much for coming on.
Hey, Jeff, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, you're not 21, Mike, so
no.
Your debut album came out in 2021. Why now? What happened? What was different? Tell us your musical journey.
Well, I started a long time ago. I mean, like a lot of people, I sang in church, and then my dad took me to a concert. And some guy, he was a cop, and he had this friend who he'd arrested a bunch of times just for, being drunk outside of a bar. Well, he was a singer, and he took me to see this guy. And I remember watching the fiddle player playing along, and that hooked me. I had to learn to play the fiddle. So that got me started. Wow. My dad played the guitar, so I learned watching him. And I was in a band, in my teenage years, but then got married, had kids, decided I better not follow that path or I won't have time to spend with them. So I buckled down and held down a normal job working on computers. And when COVID hit, I had some songs I had written, and I'd always played around the house, but I started picking some tunes and finishing up some songs, and my kids said, we really like that one song. Who sang that song? I said, nobody's ever heard that song except for you kids. They said, oh, you ought to record that, Dad. Let people hear it. And then my wife was a nurse on the COVID floor those first few months when we didn't know anything about it, and I had written the song, and I played that one night, and my daughter said, boy, that's great. You ought to share that. So I started sharing stuff on YouTube, and a producer from Nashville reached out to me and said, I think we should work together. At first I thought it was a come on.
Yeah.
But I looked into it and figured out who this guy was and that it was legitimate. And I said, okay, well, what are we going to do? In those first few months, we had to do everything remotely, but I sent him some songs that I had written, and we started recording, and that's how we got that first album, Better Late Than Never. And yeah. I wrote that song, Better Late Than Never, while we were recording it, because I was like, this is my dreams come true. I was sitting there listening to these Nashville studio musicians playing songs I had written, and I'm that first time I'm like crying because I can't believe I'm listening to these master artists play some song I wrote sitting in the den at home.
Wow.
So then I got a band here locally, so we started going around and playing music, and I had already written the second album before we had released the first album.
Man. Well, and the band, because you're in Frederick, Maryland, says there's about 80,000 people there.
Yeah.
Are all the guys from there?
Mostly. I do have one guitar player that comes up from Washington, D.C. to play with us, which is about an hour south of us.
Okay.
But he's fantastic. He's one that learns exactly what Chris did in the studio on the album, and I mean, he can play it just like Chris did on the album. So everybody else is pretty much from this area.
Yeah, that's nice. Well, I saw, if you go check out Mike, he's on all the social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You did a video honoring Toby Keith last week. How hard was that when you heard that news?
Oh, that was really rough. I'd always been a fan of Toby's from the beginning, but my youngest son, who's now 19, I mean, he just loved Toby Keith from as far back as he can remember. So Toby Keith is the only artist I've ever actually been a member of the fan club, because my son just wanted everything with Toby, and that was his first concert. I don't even remember how old he was, but we've gone to see Toby in concert multiple times. We've got autographed pictures and T-shirts and everything because my son just loves him. And that morning, my son was getting ready for school, and he was blaring Toby Keith music. And I thought, what in the world's going on? So I rolled over and looked at my phone and saw that message on Toby's social media, and ran down the hall to Jameson's room, and he was just sitting there crying, listening to Toby Keith.
Yeah.
So that one hurt.
Yeah, that one hurt a lot for a lot of us out there. Well, on a positive note, Mike, congratulations. You won the Indie Music Network Country Artist of the Year?
Yeah, I can't believe it. I mean, somebody from Frederick, Maryland. I mean, I grew up on the farm out here, so it's very country where I live, but
yeah.
It's not Nashville, it's not Texas, it's not what people consider the country scene, but I'm just so honored that people have enjoyed my music, and the folks over at the Independent Music Network have been so great with all of my music and playing them. And the one woman, Debbie, that works there, she sends me a message all the time, says, "Oh, I just love this new song. I love this new song." Every time I put out a new song, so that means a lot.
Yeah, that's great. Can you believe how things are right now with independent artists? I mean, you're getting played all over the world.
Yeah, it's when I do an interview in Australia.
Yeah,
my head just can't handle that. Like, what? How do you know about me? And when I look at the numbers, like streaming numbers from Spotify, the cities in Australia are like near the top of the streaming cities, but in France, it's just incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy how small things have become and how your music gets out there, and you're wondering how, why, what, but hey, we'll take it.
Right, absolutely.
Your band, now pronounce this, the Catoctin Cowboys?
Yes, the Catoctin Cowboys. That's the Catoctin Mountain is the first mountain, big mountain of the Appalachian Mountains here in Maryland.
Okay.
So that's where I live, right at the base of the mountain.
Oh wow! So there's mountains in Maryland. I never thought that.
Oh yeah. As soon as you get west, we got mountains, and we border West Virginia.
Yeah.
So all the mountains come through. In fact, for a while, I think our governor was the president of the Governors Association of Appalachia.
Oh, wow. Crazy. Yeah. Well, and you mentioned before we came on the air, your family's from South Dakota?
Yeah, my mother's family is from South Dakota. Her mother grew up she was actually born in a place called Twilight, South Dakota, which you probably will not find on any map. It was like a 14,000-acre ranch, and it's still in the family. It's just a little smaller now. And she went to secretary school after high school, and her father put her on a train to D.C. because they had gotten her a job at the White House back in the 40s. And that's how she met my grandfather, who actually his family was from, half of it was from New York, the other half was from Montana. He's got Blackfoot Indian in him. So
oh, crazy.
Yeah, so they had that common bond of being from out west. And
yeah, Westerners out east, huh?
Yes.
Amazing. Go check Mike out. MikeKuster.net. He's on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. His latest single, Back to Feagaville, however you pronounce that, is out now.
Yep, that's it.
Feagaville. Yeah, I'm getting there. Your EP, your recent EP came out around Halloween, Mountain Monsters of Maryland. This is about monsters in Frederick County, Maryland. What was the inspiration behind this, Mike?
Well, what it started out, my daughter kept saying, "When are you going to do a Christmas album? When are you going to do a Christmas album?" And I said, "Everybody does a Christmas album. I want to do a Halloween album, and I've got the best idea for it." So I wrote these 5 songs about, the myths and legends of the mountains here in Frederick County. So we have the Snallygaster, which is this flying beast that even Teddy Roosevelt, people thought was real. He was going to come hunt this Snallygaster. And the Dueo, and then the Catoctin Moonshiners, And then, of course, the most famous one that everyone's heard of is the Blair Witch, which I just call the Witch on here because I don't have the rights to the Blair Witch.
Yeah.
But the Blair Witch Project was about a witch here in Frederick County.
Oh,
and
wow.
then the Black Beast of Lewistown is the other single on there, which my drummer, we were somewhere on Ocean City, Maryland, and he sent me a TikTok of some steer running down the middle of the highway, and it just happened to be right outside of the town I live in, and traffic was at a complete stop, and it was just a really funny video, the way people were reacting, and he said, I bet you could write a song about that. So I did. I wrote The Black Beast of Lewistown, kind of like a little, like a Mississippi Squirrel Revival type of song.
Great. That's great. So they're all kind of true.
Yeah, they're all
Kinda.
based on true legends here in Frederick County, Maryland, and actually that one has just been nominated as a finalist for Best Country Americana Album for the Whammies, which is Washington D.C.'s Grammy Awards. So
yeah, pretty insane. When you told people you were going to do this EP, did they think you were crazy?
Oh yeah. My wife really thought I'd lost it. I did the artwork on the album, and it's just a pencil drawing of the monsters in the mountains. And she said, "What in the world is this?" I said, "Oh, it's the album cover." She said, "You've lost your mind. Nobody's gonna listen to that." And I had put out some tracks, and next thing I know, people were coming to the office where I work asking for copies of the CD. So I didn't have any made up at the time. I was sitting here burning CDs at my computer.
See, you never know. And
yeah,
now
right.
You're up for an award. So
right.
Go figure. One of your songs that's gained a lot of traction, this Front Porch Swing.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites from that last album, Country So Fresh You Have to Check Your Boots.
Yeah, well, where did you film the video? Is this your front porch swing?
That is my front porch swing. Yep.
Huh, well, you can check out Mike's front of his house if you go.
That's right.
Go to YouTube and watch the. Well, why do you think that song? Because it's so down home?
Yeah, that's what I think it is. It's so down home. It's honest. And that's what I think is the secret to country music, is being a true, honest song. And that is a love song from me to my little hometown. And really, it fits anybody's hometown. If you grew up in a little town with small streets and front porches and swings, where I live, people walk down the street, it's just like Mayberry. Everybody says, hi, how are you? We all know each other. So. Yeah.
And what are you drinking on the porch?
That is a mint julep.
Okay.
Made with Jameson Irish whiskey.
the drink of Maryland.
Yes, yeah.
That's perfect. Well, another thing cool, March 21st, you're heading to Brooklyn to record personal 7-inch vinyls.
Yeah.
I've never seen this before. This is an awesome idea.
Yeah, they reached out to me. The woman that works there, she sent me an email and said, I saw you. I had done a video for NPR's Tiny Desk contest last year with my song, What If She Says Yes? And, I mean, it was months and months later, she emailed me and said, I saw your video for the NPR Tiny Desk contest, and I just love What If She Says Yes? And I think you'd be great for this project we have where people can come and record. It's a live recording straight to vinyl, so there's no second chances. Every recording is just as it is, and people can order it, and it's personalized. So, you know, if Jeff orders an album and says he wants to hear the Snallygaster, I'll get on there and say, hey, Jeff, here's the Snallygaster for you, and I'll play the Snallygaster, and you'll have this one-of-a-kind recording on vinyl.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. If you go to his Instagram, under his bio, it's got a link to it. You can go there. They're $50 for each one. You can pick the song like Mike said, and yeah, it records it live, and you got your own personal 7-inch vinyl, which one of a kind. That's awesome. I love that idea because so many people are in vinyl right now.
Yes.
Well, and I was going to ask you about COVID Floor, but you told us because I was like, where does he get in this song? But it's your wife.
Yeah, my wife, she was working on the COVID unit, and I mean, we knew nothing at that. That was the first week of COVID, and they were inundated, and they had people passing away, and my wife was scared that she was going to pass it to us. So, like, I moved into the guest room of our house, and she stayed away from us, and we stayed away from her, and she was really taking it hard. I mean, she had PTSD from the things that she had seen, and they had no PPE after a while because they'd burned through it so much. She was using they had barbershop schmucks, like the aprons you wear at the barbershop. That was what they were using for PPE on their bodies with drawstrings on them, and they had like the plastic sheet protectors that you turned your homework into in high school. That's what they were using as face masks for a while.
Man, yeah,
so it was just,
I couldn't imagine.
It was a nightmare.
Yeah.
And then, so she was on that unit for, I think, 4 months. Oh. And then they finally rotated them out. But, those first few months, nobody knew anything. So
no.
The nurses did everything. They weren't allowing the janitors on the floor. They weren't allowing the dietitians on the floor, the food people, service people. So they just rolled the things up, and the nurses took care of everything.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, on your YouTube page, you can have 1 million cover songs.
Yes.
How many songs do you have in your repertoire, Mike?
Oh, jeez. I don't know. I've been listening to country music since 1974, so... And I just love that
and
music.
You're all over. I mean, you got new stuff, old stuff, everything.
Yeah. I mean, I love it all. And during COVID, like I said, she was at work, so I was home with the kids. So I just decided, you know what, I'm going to do a cover song a night. And some nights it turned into 3 or 4 or 5 songs I'd sit there and do, and put them up on YouTube, and I called it the COVID Sessions.
Yeah.
The COVID Sessions with Mike. Come listen to some classic country every night. And then I just started doing anything and everything.
Yeah. Go and check him out on YouTube. Mike Kuster with a K, Kuster. He's MikeKuster.net. He's on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. He's everywhere. But yeah, go and check him out. He's got a ton of stuff on YouTube. Are you going to the Whammies?
Yes, April 20th. We're going to the Whammies.
Hey, might as well.
I told my wife last night, and she said, "Oh, does that mean I have to get a dress?" I said, "Well, you can wear whatever you want, but I'm going to look sharp in case I have to go up on that stage, because they actually put it on TV in D.C., so."
Nice. Well, that'll be cool.
It'll be a new experience.
Yeah, for sure. What are we trying for in 2024? We got new stuff. What's the goals for this year?
I do have new stuff. The goal is to get enough money to go back to the studio.
Yeah, to keep recording.
Right, yeah. So I'm turning 50, so I have a song called 50 I've written. So my goal is to have an album called 50. And if we play our cards right, it'll lead us up to the 50th original song that I've recorded in the studio.
Awesome. Well, that's cool. I just turned 49, so I'm with you.
All right. Yeah.
Well, wow. Well, back to Feagaville. Tell us about this song before we play it, Mike.
Okay, yeah. Back to Feagaville is about a little town. I don't know if you can call it a town, a village, which is closest to the farm I grew up on. And it's about going back there and wishing that you could go back in time, go back to the way things were, when the only business in town was the pop shop with a fuel pump, and walking down the dead end lane with your teenage sweetheart and going to church in that small town. That was where my parents would let me ride my bike, or every once in a while ride a horse over, and that was freedom for me. That was the closest thing I could get to getting off the farm, was going to Feagaville.
Wow. Well, he's heading back to Feagaville. Go and check him out. Mike Kuster. He's at MikeKuster.net. And here's his latest single, Back to Feagaville. Mike, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you so much, Jeff.
It's Mike Kuster. It's KIX 96.5.